camera keep dying for some reason. I don't know why. I think it only records for a certain amount of time. But anyway, back to the... But you imagine it, the kings, the lords, the dukes are all up in the top, and you had to fight your way up there. And while you're doing that, all these different levels, yeah, trying to get to the penthouse, you've got the different levels of security where they ain't going to let you get anywhere. You know what I mean? Like I said, from here, they're firing arrows down on you peasants with your pitchforks. You see what I mean? That's all they've done. You know what I mean? If you say you built your tent over there, or over there, it doesn't matter where it is because they own all the land anyway. They're just going to send their gang from here, 30 strong, that are well paid by the king or the queen or the lord or the duke, and they're going to shift you off the land. We own this, you don't, and they just had a bigger gang down the centuries and the decades, and that's why we own nothing, because they've always had the bigger, stronger gang. And like I said, you try taking that away from the towns and the cities because they own all the shops and all the businesses. And like I said, they decide who gets to own that shit. And that's all done in the Masonic Lodge. And they decide who get a council house, who don't. And it's their families that are getting the preference all the time over us. You know what I mean? They've done it for years, just killing people, taking people's gold. You know, you find a gold mine, they're going to send a gang member to kill you, you're murdered, then they just put a claim on it, and that's all it is. You know, and they've just bullied people constantly over the centuries and decades, and that's what these Freemasons have done. These pageants, or whatever they want to call themselves, and they've been battling from day one. That's why Saddam got done, because they wanted his oil, so they made an excuse to invade. That's what they do all the time, make excuse, any excuse to be able to take what you've got away from you, and you can't own anything. And now they've got it sewn up so much that people don't really care anyway, and they think it's natural when it isn't. All they've done is just killed people for the land and the property they want. Whatever town or village you're from, whatever city, it doesn't matter. These people and these families that are royal elites, they own it all. You know, all the peasants, you know, what you got, pitchforks and all the rest of it, do you know what I mean? Look, how are you going to attack here, do you see what I mean? Obviously a lot of the wall is gone now, but how are you going to attack this Masonic Lodge? You know, they shut the doors, boom, boom. The only thing that could attack another Masonic Lodge was another Masonic gang, do you know what I mean? And they always battled with each other. You know, it was all to do with families, you know what I mean? And that's what it was all about. You know, just different families battling. They're still the same today. You look at the heraldry in any town, city or county, you've got certain families and they just call to arms. They protect themselves. You know, like I said, top of the food chain are the bankers, then it go down and down and down and down from there. But there you go, it's just a Masonic Lodge, that's all that is. See what I mean? Madness, absolute madness. Anyway, have a great day, my profane friends. Welcome to the Masonic Lodge. It's just a different, look, see the heraldry, look, I don't know, it's really gone now, look. See it there, look, the heraldry? Nothing's changed at all. You know what I mean? They just got they've got stronger gang members because they can pay, they've got the money and the wealth, and that's why they own it, and they own us. They just got the better money and everything else. Oh dear, I don't know, you know, this is the way in, look. So, you know, you've got to fight your way across here before you get to the king. The Lord Duke and Earl is more than likely gone in some tunnel. See, that'd be the tunnel down there maybe, and they'd be gone, you know what I mean? They wouldn't even be here. So you're like, oh, let's kill the king, let's kill the Lord, let's kill the Duke, whoever, you know, because there's always like, you know, the Lord that went around picking the taxes up, a bit like Robin Hood, you know, and his, you know, and his merry men and all that. That was all a fix, you know what I mean? They pretend they're against each other, you know, but they work hand in hand. You know, the lords, the dukes and the good guys work with the corrupt career criminals, you know what I mean? That still works today. But there's the tunnel, look, what takes them 100 miles away, so they're not even at the scene of the battle. And this is why they get away with it all the time. This is why the families always survive, because they use their tunnels and everything else to protect themselves. Yeah. And they can pop up anywhere and do battle. You don't even understand it, do you know what I mean? That's the thing, people don't understand it. You know, these people are not, you know, they're not stupid. You know, they know how to fight, they know how to battle, you know. That's all to do with the families. Anyway, have a great day, my profane friends. Remember, trust no Masonic lodge within your town, because that's where the families and the parasites that are there to make sure that you stay poor and they stay good. You are safe working in a Masonic factory or working as a hand in a shop, but anything else, you've got no chance. Do you know what I mean? You will never own anything, ever. Only their people own it, their bloodlines within your towns and cities. Have a great day, my profane friends. And anyway, you know, like I said, do you think what I'm telling you is a lie or a truth? And that's the important thing, isn't it? They don't want you hearing this, do you know what I mean? Because they know that's the true facts. Every bit of history is a lie as well. You know what I mean? Because it didn't matter what side you were fighting on, they were never touched. Do you know what I mean? That's why they always got away with it. You know, these are more than likely the prison cells. You know what I mean? Where they bums stretched all the fucking profane. You know what I mean? There's your keep. See, that's all their hope. This is just a Masonic lodge. And, you know, the guardsmen were well paid. You know, look, see, look. You show you, look. See? The peasants, do you know what I mean? Getting a hand out. He's making sure he does his job. You know what I mean? He's just a policeman, look. See what I mean? An English gun crew and soldiers. The gun called an Iron Minion could fire a round shot 9 centimetres down about 1 kilometre. Do you know what I mean? But this is what it's all about. It was just families, you know. Keep fighting. We're taking that Masonic lodge or this Masonic lodge because that gives us the wealth, and that's what it was all about. Or they kidnap each other, and they still do it today. They just do it over drugs now. You know what I mean? There's kidnapping each other over drugs or shooting each other for the rights and the privileges to deal drugs now, innit? You know, nothing's changed. Or do you think all that money, you know, the real drug dealers are living in council houses? No, they're all the minions working for them. You know, even there, look, you've got the Masonic square and calm piss. But anyway, have a great day, my profane friend.